Yeah, this is Artist Romero from Cosmic Poetry Radio. I want to say thank you for supporting Cosmic Poetry Radio, and I have an announcement to make. New episodes of Cosmic Poetry Radio will be every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Time. That's 7 p.m. Central Time. Expect new episodes of Cosmic Poetry Radio. You can check us out on YouTube and also on Facebook at Artist Bernie, and also at Jamarius Jones, and also at Cosmic Poetry Sanctuary. I want to say thank you to my friends at Arm in Arm for Climate, at Mississippi Rising Coalition, my friends at Worldwide Access Studios, and you. All right. When we first started out on this journey, we had no idea where we were going. We just knew that we wanted to take peace and love and the people with us. And now we see ourselves in this situation with no place to go but up. So thank you very much for your support. Every Thursday, new episodes of Cosmic Poetry Radio, 7 p.m. Y'all stay close. This is my passion, and the most creative expression that we can pull together. A format to separate facts from feelings so the information flows a little bit better. I've been groomed by the great ones. I do more than just make it rhyme. I make it make sense on a level so there's no doubt in your mind that you heard the truth the first time. That's why I'm able to step out with no fear and know that I can deliver. So less talking unless it's poetry. Don't move unless there's purpose behind it. This is a mental picture developing in front of you, and there's good intentions behind it. My name is Artist Romero, and this is Cosmic Poetry Radio. Welcome back to Cosmic Poetry Radio. My name is Artist Romero. Thank you once again for tuning in. We're broadcasting live from Worldwide Access Studios. Tonight's show is brought to you by armandarmforclimate.org and also Mississippi Rising Coalition. Check them out at msrising.com. Now dig this. It's almost Black History Month, and it's almost Martin Luther King's birthday, so we have a lot of things to talk about in the way of Black people. Now dig this. The first time that I ever heard somebody refer to a Black person as a blue person, it was when I was introduced to somebody that wasn't from the United States. Now dig this. At first I was offended, but then she explained blue to me had very little to do with my skin complexion. Had more to do with the way that Black people in America created the blues. And I heard Cornel West describe the blues years later as an autobiographical chronicle of a personal catastrophe expressed lyrically but endured with grace and dignity. The blues, blue people. Up next from the TED Talk series, this is Jalen Agnew. You stay close. This is Cosmic Poetry Radio.
The more you cry, the less you pee. Those are the words of the noted psychologist and expert in trauma, Mercedes Mann, my grandmother. That was my first lesson in Black folk mental health. In layman's terms, stop all that damn crying. In more clinical terms, it's a passed down coping mechanism used to teach the internalization of trauma to maintain survival. It's giving very much, this is what I learned, so this is what I'm going to teach you. I am a Black therapist with a Black therapist, and I find human behavior fascinating. I've been in the field for 16 years, and I have a private practice where I work with majority Black women. In my observation, Black people are dope. Despite stolen lands and stolen bodies and stolen culture, despite laws and psychology and science skewed and used with white supremacy in order to justify the inhumane treatment, Black people have mastered survival. Surviving and living and loving and worshiping and being so damn beautiful. But I wonder how? What protective factors are at play? So I have a theory. Ride out with me on this one. Trauma responses. In order to maintain survival, Black people have integrated trauma responses into the culture. So much so that we hand it down from generation to generation under the guise of values and traditions. Let's get into it. Let's talk science. Trauma responses are a physiological reaction in response to a perceived harmful event, a threat, or a threat to survival. A necessary system, it was wired into the human nervous system in order to keep us safe. So if there was a bear in the wild, this system would kick in to maintain survival. While it's necessary, it was never intended to be a long-term solution. The body is not meant to stay in that state of arousal. It's supposed to be short-term. Keep that in mind. All right, boom, let's talk American history. During the transatlantic slave trade, Europeans built the foundation of this country on the raping, pillaging, enslaving, dehumanizing of Africans. They used mental, physical, and spiritual warfare in order to integrate white supremacy into the violence. They skewed psychology, religion, and science, all to justify this treatment. For example, drapetomania, which is when enslaved Africans would attempt to run away, was once a mental health diagnosis. So, with all that said, traumatizing Black bodies is as American as the strange fruit in apple pie. When a community is traumatized over and over, it causes a collective trauma experience. So when we put the science and the history together, white supremacy is the bear. White supremacy is the bear. But let's take it a step further. When I started, I said, the more you cry, the less you pee as a clinical intervention. Due to the Black trauma experience my grandmother had learned and subsequently was teaching, the internalization of emotions is a safety concern. To externalize emotions does not maintain survival. Now, I didn't know when she was telling me this, if this was about the fact that I used the bathroom so much or the fact that I was so emotional. Either way, it was a deliberate attempt to stop the mind-body connection. Survival mode. Black people live our entire lives in survival mode. I'm gonna let that sink in. Black people, there is trauma in your traditions. Now, what does this look like? It looks like everyday lessons we learn, some verbal and nonverbal, that are given to us with the intent of maintaining survival. So, for example, respectability politics, trauma response. When we grow up, we learn we have to work 10 times harder than everybody else. Make sure you get to work on time. You know them white folks watching you. Don't get in here and embarrass me in front of these white people. Whatever you do, please don't give them a reason to call the police. The rigorous internal and external self-awareness rooted in anti-Blackness is traumatizing to the system. It is exhausting. Maintain survival mode. Code switching, trauma response. Yo, so the way I talk to the people I know and other Black people, like, yes, girl, you better do it and do it well. It's substantially different than the way I talk in the workplace. Good morning, Megan. How you doing? You're awesome. Code switching is a means of survival. It literally means getting and keeping the job. And code switching is not just a change in language, it's a change in tone, intonation, volume, pitch, and the way I carry myself. It is exhausting. Maintain survival mode. The strong Black woman trope, trauma response. So I was in session with a beautiful Black human, and they said to me, well, I hold the weight, but I hold it well. And I said to them, well, what would happen if you didn't hold the weight? She was talking about stress. What would happen if you put it down? And we both looked out the window together because Black women rarely learn ourselves outside of stress, outside of trauma. It's as if every lesson that we get is supposed to teach us to be strong. The more you cry, the less you pee. Stop all that crying. Be strong. Your job is supposed to be stressful. Makes you strong. People are supposed to have access to your body. Makes you strong. Love is supposed to hurt. Makes you strong. You're supposed to strap the world on your back. Makes you strong. I've had Black women come into my office and spout off trauma like grocery lists. Always maintaining composure. Never leaving survival mode. My name is Jelon Agnew, and I am a licensed clinical social worker. When I go to various trainings and workshops, this is how I introduce myself. It might sound normal. However, I am having a trauma response. It's a mix of respectability politics, code switching, and the strong black woman trope. I, through the lessons that I've learned that I have to show myself in a different way. Because I have distant memories of daily microaggressions. And oh my God, are you the new staff? What do you work in the kitchen? And being overlooked for a position. And oh my God, Jellen, I thought you were the other African American woman. I'm so sorry. And crying and being called aggressive. Giving validation to my grandmother's wise words. And like I said earlier, trauma responses are not intended to be long-term. When you are in a constant state of survival, your body cannot regenerate and rest, leaving more room for illness. Mental, physical, and spiritual illness. Black people, there is trauma in your traditions and illness in your trauma. Now, when I started this, I said I believe that healing Black people is what I'm on earth for. And I think it's time for a mindset shift from surviving to thriving. Because we are in survival mode so much that rest makes us uncomfortable. So I suggest resting by any means necessary, realizing that internal peace is a revolutionary act, valuing health over hustle, and making sure that we're doing all these things to keep ourselves alive, because I can go on and on about the trauma responses. Hustle, trauma response. Colorism, trauma response. Putting cancer-causing chemicals in our hair that causes cancer, trauma response. Our addiction to unhealthy foods, trauma response. Our aversion to traditional and indigenous religious beliefs, trauma response. So I'm gonna add something to what my grandmother said. The more you cry, the more at health you will be.
You finally managed to put together a network of solid citizens committed to putting the community first. Arm in arm is how we move, because there is no weak link in this chain. Like a phoenix or a rocket ship, we got Mississippi rising again. Mississippi for a Green New Deal, because we have to. We can make this magical blue mystique work in favor of me and you instead of the opposite. You give a Cosmic Poetry Radio worldwide access and nothing can stop this. The country, the community, the culture, the future. This is not the same Mississippi that history's gotten used to.
On Time Mobile Tire Shop Roadside Assistance Services Semi-Truck Jumpstart. Semi-Truck Jumpstart. Semi-Truck Diesel Fuel Delivery. Box Truck Diesel Fuel Delivery. Semi-Truck Vehicle Lockouts. Glad Hand Seal Replacement. Red and Blue Airline Replacement. Green Electrical Line Replacement. Semi-Truck and Trailer Light Testing. And Electric Brake Testing. Semi-Truck Air Tank Water Draining. And Air Tank PSI Pressure Build-Up. On Time Mobile Tire Shop Roadside Assistance Services. Call 228-235-7342.
Our level of consciousness is begging to be raised. And I've been obsessing over how to provide you with an escape. Unplugged, closer to nature. Throw our spiritual selves out into the universe and see where the good energy takes us. The Cosmic Poetry Sanctuary is a time and space dedicated to the artistic spirit and every time it decides to create. Self-healing, healthy eating, sharing information about what healthy humans need. And when the time is right, a party like you wouldn't believe. Step into the future. Leaving the Matrix has evolved into this. The Cosmic Poetry Sanctuary is a next level social experiment about peace and love. My name is Artist Romero, holding it down for the home team, broadcasting live from Worldwide Access Studios. This is Cosmic Poetry Radio. Tonight's show is brought to you by arminarmforclimate.org. Go to their website and sign the climate pledge, please and thank you. And also Mississippi Rising Coalition. Go to their website at msrising.com and check them out. And also we got a big surprise coming up for you. February the 16th. At the Van Cleve Public Library in Van Cleve, Mississippi. It's going to be a Black History presentation. It's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be talking about the relationships between African Americans and indigenous folks. All right? Bring your hats, bring your helmets. We're going to blow your mind. All right? My name is Artist Romero, and dig this. Now, you can't do this if you're driving or you're operating heavy machinery or if you're supposed to be watching the kids. You have to be content just listening to this for now. So I'm going to take that into consideration as I lay this out. Take a deep breath. Now close your eyes. Imagine a time before modern transportation. Now let that deep breath out, along with that mental picture, until your lungs and your mind have faded to black. Now take another deep breath and bring that mental picture back. This is part 2 of the Mississippi Gulf Coast Maritime History. You stay close. This is Cosmic Poetry Radio.
World War I propelled Mississippi's shipbuilding industry from relatively modest family-owned operations to company-owned shipyards, building large ocean-going vessels to meet the influx of government contracts. An example of a World War I wooden ship is the USS Pascagoula. She was a military cargo ship built in Pascagoula and completed in 1918, 1 month before the war ended. But with the end of the war, came an end to large wooden ships. Steel vessels were becoming state-of-the-art. The industry fell into a post-war slump, but another side of maritime commerce was just gaining its own steam. Prohibition was in full swing, and rum runners, illegal smugglers of liquor, often rum from Jamaica, filled the economic gap. Cargo boats would pull up just outside the 12-mile territorial limit and transfer their goods to rum runners, fast boats that raced back to the mainland by cover of night. This activity was illegal, but it kept many small boat builders and repairers in business. Determined to put an end to the activity, the government established a United States Coast Guard station at the mouth of Pascagoula River. There it has remained a strong presence in Pascagoula ever since, although now it is based on nearby Singing River Island. By the late 1930s, ominous war clouds were again brewing on the horizon. Robert Ingalls Sr., a shipbuilder from Birmingham, Alabama, decided to establish a state-of-the-art facility in Pascagoula to capitalize on the anticipated flood of government contracts for military vessels. The Ingalls Shipyard was founded in 1938. This new facility employed 2 techniques that revolutionized the industry: electric arc welding and modular shipbuilding. With the introduction of welding, a single welder could do the work of a 4-man riveting gang, not only more quickly, but also producing faster, more streamlined ships. And using modular building principles similar to those of Henry Ford's assembly line, vessels could be mass-produced more economically than ever before. In 1940, Ingalls launched the SS Exchequer, America's first all-welded steel ship. It immediately was appropriated by the U.S. Navy and rechristened as a seaplane tender. During the war years, Ingalls specialized in building C-3 cargo ships. Ingalls C-3 hulls were adapted to seemingly everything, including flat-top escort aircraft carriers that went to work for the British Navy. C-3s were the most high-tech of wartime transport ships, far exceeding the old Liberty ships. One of Ingalls' most accomplished ships was the USS Samuel P. Chase, an attack transport. She was Ingalls' most decorated World War II ship and served in all 5 European invasions, including D-Day. Throughout the war, the yard operated around the clock. With war pulling many men into combat, the burgeoning shipyard industry still required workers. The ladies stepped in to fill the void. It was the era of Rosie the Riveter. Ingalls' entry into that fray produced the nation's top female shipyard welder, Vera Anderson. She got to be feted at the White House in grateful appreciation of her role. The Cold War period, from 1946 until the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, was a time of nail-biting anxiety as the United States sparred with the Soviet Union for global dominance. Fortunately, there was never out-and-out conflict, but each side needed better weapon systems. Ingalls responded. During that era, Ingalls built 13 new submarines, 12 of which were nuclear-powered, the most sophisticated naval craft of that time. One of those, USS Parch, was a super-quiet spy submarine. Parch became the most decorated naval warship of all time for secretly tapping underwater Soviet communication cables. Other maritime-related endeavors round out East Mississippi's maritime industry. Halter Marine builds and repairs offshore oil rigs. Fletcher's Shipyard is a reminder of the quality work turned out by family-owned shipyards. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration National Marine Fisheries Service has its Gulf Coast office here and operates a fleet of oceanographic and fisheries research vessels. Omega Protein maintains an offshore fishing fleet to harvest menhaden, locally known as pogies, a source of fish oil used in many commercial products. For most coast citizens, the aspect of maritime industry that comes closest to their everyday life is what goes on the dinner plate in the evening. Since the earliest Native Americans waded in the shallow waters to collect oysters and used hand-braided nets to collect their fish, seafood has been a main staple. Flotillas of small boats go out every day in almost every kind of weather to bring us our greatly appreciated ration of fresh seafood. Both the Port of Pascagoula and the Port of Gulfport are vital economic drivers for the state of Mississippi and major employers for the Gulf Coast region. Pascagoula is ranked number 21 in the nation in receiving foreign imports. The Port of Gulfport is the third busiest deep-water container port on the Gulf and ranked number 64 in the nation in foreign imports. Chevron's Pascagoula refinery, which opened in 1963, has grown to be the company's largest U.S. refinery. It processes 330,000 barrels, or 13.9 million gallons, of crude oil per day. The unrefined product is brought in daily by smaller ships that shuttle between the refinery and the supertankers anchored well offshore. From the 1970s and beyond, Ingalls received the lion's share of some of the largest naval contracts ever awarded. Spruance-class destroyers, Ticonderoga-class Aegis-guided missile cruisers, and a variety of amphibious assault ships. LHAs, the largest flat-top aircraft carriers produced at Ingalls, are among the largest warships in the world, second in size only to the supercarriers in the U.S. Navy's fleet. Some recently built Ingalls ships are United States Coast Guard Cutter Monroe, designed for homeland security missions; guided missile cruiser USS Port Royal. Among other capabilities, this ship provides ballistic missile defense. Ingalls builds more classes of ships than any other shipyard in the United States. How much has Ingalls contributed to our nation's defense? Nearly 70% of our nation's current fleet of warships was built at Ingalls Shipyard. Whether 300 years ago or today, it's clear that the maritime industry, in all its varied facets, is deeply embedded in the spirit of the people of the Mississippi Gulf Coast. At the Mississippi Maritime Museum, our mission is to honor this past, preserve the present, and promote a thriving future. We believe that by illuminating the past, all of us can better understand today's challenges and gain greater insight about opportunities on the horizon.
finally managed to put together a network of solid citizens committed to putting the community first. Arm in arm is how we move because there is no weak link in this chain. Like a phoenix or a rocket ship, we got Mississippi rising again. Mississippi for a Green New Deal because we have to. We can make this magical blue mystique work in favor of me and you instead of the opposite. You give a Cosmic Poetry Radio worldwide access and nothing can stop this. The country, the community, the culture, the future. This is not the same Mississippi that history's gotten used to.
On Time Mobile Tire Shop. Roadside Assistance Services. Mounting and Balancing. Fuel Delivery. Emergency Mobile Tire Shop. I-10 Mounting and Balancing Tires. On the highway service. Can fix your flat tire on the road. We service customers' home location. Battery jumpstart, vehicle lockouts, flat tire repair. Call 228-235-7342 or Google On Time Mobile Tire Shop.
Our level of consciousness is begging to be raised. And I've been obsessing over how to provide you with an escape. Unplugged, closer to nature. Throw our spiritual selves out into the universe and see where the good energy takes us. The Cosmic Poetry Sanctuary is a time and space dedicated to the artistic spirit and every time it decides to create. Self-healing, healthy eating, sharing information about what healthy humans need. And when the time is right, a party like you wouldn't believe. Step into the future. Leaving the Matrix has evolved into this. The Cosmic Poetry Sanctuary is a next level social experiment about peace and love. Welcome back to Cosmic Poetry Radio. My name is Artist Romero. Thank you once again for tuning in. You know, sometimes life puts us in the most unique situations, and sometimes we just have to make the most of them. I remember this one time I made eye contact with President Obama at a town hall meeting, and he pointed dead at me to ask the next question. And I couldn't get the words out of my mouth fast enough, and the brother, of course, behind me thought he was pointing at him and spoke up before I did. So I missed my chance to talk to the president about something that was on my mind. The next time I was on a movie set, I was on the set of Girls Trip with Queen Latifah and Tiffany Haddish and Jada Pinkett. And a brother recognized me from the radio. He said, "Romero, you should be doing more." I said, okay. I was nervous, but I wanted to do more. So the next time I was on set, I bumped into the same brother on the set of Queen Sugar. And he called me up front and said, "Romero, you ready to do more?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm working on an independent film." He said, "I have a friend. She's a filmmaker, and she's talented, and she's on set today. Her name is Akila, and she's looking for folks to be a part of her film. And it's a good opportunity." I said, "Yes, I'm not afraid." And that turned into 27 movies and TV shows in 2.5 years. And it also turned into A Frantic Love Part 4. And so here is the movie trailer, the teaser from producer Akila Scales. This is A Frantic Love Part 4. You stay close. This is Cosmic Poetry Radio.
They didn't beat you. I did. It's all yours, Detective.
Welcome back, and thank you once again for tuning in to Cosmic Poetry Radio. My name is Artist Romero, and if you're looking for a safe place to put your mind, you found it. I want to say thank you to tonight's guest, Jelen Agnew, and also the group that put together the Mississippi Gulf Coast Maritime History video, and also producer, Miss Akila Scales. I want to say thank you to our sponsors tonight, Mississippi Rising Coalition. Check them out at msrising.com, and also arminarmforclimate.org. Go to their website and sign the climate pledge, please and thank you. And also a reminder that this is a radio/television show, which gives us a unique access to the marketplace, which makes this a fantastic place to advertise. People are watching. My name is Artist Romero, and long after radio has drifted off to where lost radio goes and you don't know my name anymore, you'll bump into songs on the streets and poems that look like me. They'll walk up and tap you on the shoulders that didn't used to be, and I'll be like, yeah, that was me. Y'all be cool, and thank you for tuning in. Peace. This is my passion, and the most creative expression that we can pull together. A format to separate facts from feelings so the information flows a little bit better. I've been groomed by the great ones. I do more than just make it rhyme. I make it make sense on a level so there's no doubt in your mind that you heard the truth the first time. That's why I'm able to step out with no fear and know that I can deliver. So less talking unless it's poetry. Don't move unless there's purpose behind it. This is a mental picture developing in front of you, and there's good intentions behind it. My name is Artist Romero, and this is Cosmic Poetry Radio.
We worldwide, all you gotta do is just tune in. Tune in to Worldwide Access. Worldwide. We worldwide, all you gotta do is just tune in. Tune in to Worldwide Access. Worldwide. We worldwide, all you gotta do is just tune in.
This is Artist Romero from Cosmic Poetry Radio. I want to say thank you for supporting Cosmic Poetry Radio, and I have an announcement to make. New episodes of Cosmic Poetry Radio will be every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Time. That's 7 p.m. Central Time. Expect new episodes of Cosmic Poetry Radio. You can check us out on YouTube and also on Facebook at Artist Bernie, and also at Jamarius Jones, and also at Cosmic Poetry Sanctuary. I want to say thank you to my friends at Arm in Arm for Climate, at Mississippi Rising Coalition, my friends at Worldwide Access Studios, and you. All right. When we first started out on this journey, we had no idea where we're going. We just knew that we wanted to take peace and love and the people with us. And now we see ourselves in this situation with no place to go but up. So thank you very much for your support. Every Thursday, new episodes of Cosmic Poetry Radio, 7 p.m. Y'all stay close.